So today, we are going to talk about dreams. Now, how many of you guys, now we're not talking about the type of dreams when you're sleeping at night, but when you're just like thinking about your future, how many of you guys have had a dream before that you think about for your future? Yes, all right. So put your hands down. You know what? Everybody has some. Even if you didn't raise your hand, even if you choose to keep it really quiet, we all have dreams that we have hidden inside of our heart. Little things when we think about the future. It could be as simple as, oh, I can't wait until this party that I'm having at my house, and I'm going to make the outside look really cool and clean it all up. And that's a dream. That's a dream for the future. What you want to accomplish, what you want to actually do for a living. These are all dreams. But guess what? Everybody has them. And the question is, how in the world can we keep our dream from fading away? And there are some adults that hardly ever dream about what's going to happen in their future. And it sometimes is just because we didn't practice and we decided that it wasn't so important. So today we're going to talk about why it is important and how you guys can continue to dream so that you have the most likelihood of your dreams coming true. Entangled. How she had a dream of seeing the lanterns, right? She dreamed of it, but she didn't know any way to get that done because she was locked inside of a tower. But when that guy showed up inside that tower, all of a sudden, something happened. That dream turned into a hope. And did you know that when what we really need for our dreams to come true is for us to have hope in our dreams? When it's just a dream, it's great because we can think about it, but when it's a hope, it's something different. A hope is believing that a brighter future is possible and knowing that you can take action to get there. Hope is believing that a brighter future is possible and knowing that you can take steps to get there. So see, that's different than a wish. You guys have all had a birthday cake, right, at some point, and it's like, blow out the candles and make a wish. A wish is something that we just think of that may or may not happen. We don't take it seriously. We usually don't even think it's going to come true. Because a hope, though, there's something different that happens. Because when we have a hope in our heart, we believe that something can happen differently, and we know that we can take action to get there. That is what I want you guys to think about your dreams. That can I have hope in a brighter future? Can I take action to get there? You've got to have hope to really make dreams come true. And here's the other thing that happens up in your mind. The first thing you got to do, thank you for turning that noise level down, is we got to take time to think about it. We can't just keep pushing it aside. That's what happens when we forget about them. We got to take time to think and gather all our thoughts about what that might be like. And what are we thinking? You know what we're doing? What you do is you visualize a clear picture of what it's going to look like. If someone's about to make, let's say, a cake, you think about it first, and then you make it. It's like we do it twice. First we think about it, then we do it. That's like that in everything that you do in life, and that's like that in every one of your dreams. Because first, you have to think about what it's going to be like. You have to really visualize what it's going to look like. Sometimes you got to write it down on paper and make a whole plan. And make that as clear as you can. What color might it be? Who might be around me? Who would be supporting me? Who's the people that would be surrounding me while I'm walking towards this dream? And then, not only do we think about what the dream is and what it's going to be like, then we do the thing that some people forget all about. We think about the steps it's going to take to get there. We think about that. Because there are actions, there's work, like we're going to talk about later, that needs to happen. So you picture yourself doing that work. You say, okay, first I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Oh, that might not be so fun. Let's say you want to run a marathon, and you have to run every single day to get ready. Well, in this cold daylight today in the morning, you may not have felt like getting up and running. But if you've already thought about it, and you've thought, you know what, it's going to be cold, but I'm going to put on my coat, I'm going to be prepared, I'm going to go out, I'm going to take the steps forward, then you are far more likely to do it because your mind is already planning it. Your mind is a very powerful thing. And when you think about not only what your dream is, but how it's going to happen, and then the action it takes to get there, it's like you're rehearsing. You guys know from your memory challenges and the things that you do that you have to rehearse. You have to practice, practice, practice. That type of thing has to happen to make your dreams come true as well. And here's another thing that sometimes squashes our dreams. It's that none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Not a single person in this room is perfect because we're human and we make mistakes. And sometimes we say things we're not supposed to say, and sometimes we aren't good at something at the very beginning. Sometimes we just plain aren't our best. And sometimes when we fail, we think that means that we're not meant to have our dreams come true, that we're not meant to have the thing that is in our heart that whispers to us to say, no, this is the direction you're going to lead. This is what's going to make you happy when you're an adult. There's that little whisper, that's your dream. And sometimes if you fail, it's just like squashes it. All right, but that's just not even true. The crazy thing is, what's true is that failing leads to success. Every time we fail, we learn. Every time we fail, we go, oh, that's not the way I'm going to be doing that again next time. I'm going to adjust things. I'm going to change it a little bit. And each time you change it, you get closer and closer. As long as you don't listen to that part of your mind that says, I'm just going to give up completely. Because failure leads to success. There's different things that can happen from the outside world that can also make us feel as though we're not going to go for our dreams. One is when we mess up. And people point out that we mess up. And people say, you're no good at that. Why do you want to do that? That can make us feel like, oh, why am I trying here? Or if somebody is upset with you. That's a big one. I think as kids get older, sometimes if they feel like their parents or people that care about them very much are dragging them down or always telling them they're doing something wrong, that means that they're not meant to keep walking towards their dreams. But you know what? The very opposite is happening in those people's minds that are strict with you, that are hard on you, that want you to do everything just right. Those people are telling you that because they want you to get to your dreams, because they want you to be your best. But your mind wants to tell you, all they do is tell me what I'm doing wrong. All they do is drag me down. I'm just so upset. You can look at that a whole new way. You can say, oh, it doesn't feel good when people are hard on me and really tough with me. It doesn't feel good, but I know this person cares about me. And that is why they want me to succeed in life. And what they don't know is that I have dreams that I'm thinking about and that I'm going to make them happen. All right? And then you say, it's just one step towards my dream. This failure leads to success, even when people are being tough on you. That can be a good thing if you turn it around to the right way. What about when everything around you is going wrong? What about it's just one of those weeks, it's like one thing after another seems to be standing in your way? Well, it could be that you need to move your direction a little bit and keep walking forward. Or it could just be that you need to say, hey, those things happen in life. Sometimes everything's not going to be going perfectly. That doesn't mean that the little voice in my mind telling me where I need to go in my life is wrong. It just means things are tough. And so, perspective is really important, and you can still choose hope. Remember how I talked about how hope was so important? It takes it away from just being a dream, and you can hope in a brighter future, knowing that you can take steps to get there. So let's talk more about how this can happen. Did you know that, like I told you, I already told you this, your mind is really powerful. So when you start acting in a different type of way, everything around starts moving in the direction to help you. It's like the world says, okay, we're going to open some doors. So what happens if you knew for a fact that something that you really want to happen is going to happen tomorrow. If you knew that it was going to happen, for sure, would you wake up a little differently? Would you act a little differently on that day? On that day, that feeling that you had because you knew it was happening, that's hope. And you know what? You might be a little happier. You might choose to have a little more confidence. You might choose to walk around with a smile on your face. You might try a little harder at the things you're doing because you know it's going to happen. Now, I know that this might sound kind of ridiculous if you're like, I just want to act however I want. But if you act like that person that's going to have those things happen tomorrow, if you act like that person today, then you're training every day for when that dream comes true. And your outlook completely changes. You see, I had a student that I worked with in junior high, and his mother said, oh, he always just is an imaginary world. In fact, when he was little, he always thought that he could fly. When he was in the playground, he would jump off big things and get hurt all the time. At home, he's jumping off the table. He's always telling me he can fly. And it's just one example of how unrealistic he is. And I sat down with him, and I thought, well, I asked him, I wonder, what is happening inside of you that makes you wish that you could fly? What is it? Now, he's in junior high, so that's like a little older than you guys are, right? So he said, honestly, I think it's because I want to be a pilot. Now, what does a pilot do? They fly. So his dreams of being they don't, of course, not like Superman, right? But his dream of flying was really because it was preparing him to become a pilot. And years later, I got a little card from a little postcard, and I turned it around, and there's his face, his adult face on something that he was graduating from flight school. He was becoming a pilot. And I bet you today he does fly all over on top of the clouds. He doesn't have to jump off anything. He hops in his plane. We don't know how our dream is going to come true. We don't know our future, but we do know that if we hope like it is going to happen, that our actions are going to be different. If we don't listen to the people that don't quite understand our dream and find out why we're thinking what we're thinking, it's going to turn out differently. It's going to happen for you. Not without work, right? I talked about that. Here's 5 steps that you need to do to make your dreams come true. You need a clear goal. And I bet you guys have talked about that in class. You've got to have a goal that you even write down, because writing down is powerful. You've got to do hard work. Nothing comes without hard work. Perseverance, meaning that we keep going, like we talked about. Resilience. We hear some negativity and we still say, I'm resilient. We have a whole big storm and we keep going through that storm. We're being resilient. We need confidence. Confidence comes from the hope we talked about, right? That we can walk forward differently because we're not so interested in what everyone thinks, because we know we have a dream in our heart that we're walking towards. We need each one of these things though, right? We can't just skip it. We've got to choose to place those things in our heart so we can move closer to our dreams. So what is that telling us? It's telling us that we've got to take action, right? So hope requires action. It doesn't mean that tomorrow you're going to apply for the college of your dreams or decide that you're going to be, I don't know what, a pianist or whatever. You're just going to go do it right now. But the small little steps is what taking action is. It's one step towards your dream. What could I do today? When you wake up, you think, what could I do today to get just a little bit closer? Some of you guys might think, I wonder if in high school I could be a part of the debate team or a club or a sport, or if you want to thrive at the instrument that you play, or writing. Maybe you want to enter a poetry contest. I don't know what your passion is, but I know that you can take one step forward towards that right now. You don't have to wait at all. So taking action towards maybe being a doctor or a nurse, or how you want to live your life in the future, or what brings you the most peace. I'll give you one other example of somebody I thought of on the way to work today who didn't learn to read until the end of 2nd grade. Yeah, it's true. This student did not know how to read at all, and her writing, not great. All right? It probably at the end of 4th grade, people probably thought that that person was still in 1st grade. Okay? But what people didn't know is that this girl was an amazing poet. And she would write down her poetry and write it down and write it down. And people told her, oh, you have a long ways to go if you ever want to be a poet or an author when you grow up. But when she got in high school, somebody saw one of her poems and said, that's amazing. That moved me to tears. I know someone who has a magazine. I bet you that could get published. She sent it to the magazine, and that person's poetry, 3 of her poetries, her poems, were published in that magazine before she even graduated from high school. And her dream was always to write, even though she got a slow start. She kept moving towards her dream, and her writing caught up, and her reading caught up, and it caught up with her dream because she kept taking steps forward. And that is what will happen to you when you take action. All right? So I want to see all of you guys not only sharing with other people, writing down, and then taking action. And that's what's going to get you there. It's really important that we dream big. It's important because of what I told you. Dreams are not just an unrealistic thing that we think about and then we should push aside. What it really is, many times, is something inside of us that's pushing us towards what we were meant to do, what we were meant to be, who we're meant to become. You guys are all adults in training, right? You're not going to stay kids, you're going to become adults. The question is, what kind of adults do you want to be? And that comes from you guys dreaming about exactly who you want to be based on your values, right? If you have a dream that starts to go in a direction that kind of feels icky and wrong because it doesn't really line up with what you believe in and what you know, then you have the power of saying, I'm going to adjust that to something that feels right to me. And then I'm going to move forward towards that. So I want to see each of you guys as we move into spring and the end of the year, practice dreaming. And practice dreaming with hope, not just a wish, not just, I wish it would happen, but I hope it will happen. I believe it will happen, and I'm going to move forward towards that.